My husband and his mom had a secret savings account they were filling with money from my paychecks, but they made one mistake: they listed my social on the bank documents. He said marriage was about partnership. That's what he told me when we combined finances after our engagement. No secrets. No debts. Just us building a future together. It sounded romantic. Responsible. Honest. I believed him. So I gave him access to everything. My bank account. My credit score. My paycheck deposits. He said it made things easier if everything went through one joint account. And I agreed. I didn't think twice. He worked freelance. Unstable income. I was the salaried one. The planner. The dependable one. And I didn't mind. At first, it felt good to provide. He'd always thank me. Text me little messages like, "You were incredible. I'm so lucky." He cooked more. Ran errands. Was present in a way I hadn't seen in past relationships. So when his mom moved in temporarily after her knee surgery, I didn't question it. She'd smile politely. Make passive-aggressive remarks about how fast we were moving with the wedding. Call me career girl with a smirk. But I held my tongue. Because family mattered. And she was going through something. That's what I told myself. Until 3 months passed. And she was still living in our guest room. Still taking over the kitchen. Still whispering to him behind closed doors. And suddenly, he wasn't texting me those sweet messages anymore. He'd get defensive if I asked about money. Short-tempered when I suggested we track our budget. He'd say, "We're fine." Or, "Why don't you trust me?" I started watching more closely. That's when I noticed a strange deposit missing from my paycheck. It was supposed to hit on Friday. It didn't show until Tuesday. I checked the routing info. It had bounced to another account first. An unfamiliar one. When I asked him about it, he shrugged. Bank error. I'll check. But he never followed up. And the next time, it happened again. That's when I stopped asking. And started documenting. I printed bank statements. Tracked transfers. Screenshotted emails and flagged unusual activity. And I started digging deeper. One night, while he was at the gym and his mom was on the phone in her room, I opened his desk drawer. Inside, I found a folder. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't even locked. Just a plain manila folder with a post-it note, joint savings. Except it wasn't our joint savings. Not the one I knew about. Inside were printouts. Bank account balances. Wire transfers. Tax documents. And then I saw it. My name. My social security number. Used to open an account I had never authorized. The account had his name. His mother's. And mine, as primary funding source. I felt cold. I flipped through the paperwork. Dates, transfers, signatures. They'd been routing thousands from my paychecks into this secret account for over a year. Every deposit listed as gift. Every withdrawal marked as housing support. But there was no housing support. We split rent. I paid utilities. Groceries. Car insurance. So what was this money for? A line item answered that. Wedding fund, backup. Backup? I wasn't sure what it meant. Until I found the vendor list. A photographer. A planner. A DJ. None of whom I had contacted. None of whom were on our real vendor list. Then I found the final tab. Emergency relocation, initial estimate. With an address. In another state. I froze. It wasn't just a secret savings account. It was an escape plan. A funded, well-organized exit route. Why? Why would he do this? Why would they, together, build a future without me using my own money? I sat down. Shaking. Hazel, our dog, curled up next to me. I hadn't even realized I was crying until she nudged my leg. That night, I didn't confront him. I scanned everything. Saved it to a hidden drive. Took photos. Documented every detail. Then I called my sister. She's a lawyer. And very good at being angry on my behalf. I didn't sleep. By morning, I had a plan. First step, freeze all transfers. Second, consult a financial advisor. Third, get the hell out. But first, I needed one more thing. Proof. So I printed the statements. The signatures. The gift records. I laid them out on the kitchen table. Waited. He came in from a jog. Tossed his keys. Saw the papers. What's all this? I looked up. Held eye contact. You tell me. He hesitated. Laughed. Babe, it's not what it looks like. I nodded. Good. Then explain it. He stammered. Said it was for surprises. That his mom was just helping. That I would have overreacted if he'd told me. You were right, I said. And then I picked up my bag. Walked out. He followed. Begged. Said I was ruining everything. But I was already gone. And I wasn't coming back. Because this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was theft. And betrayal. And what he didn't realize was, by putting my name on that account, he gave me the power to shut it down. And that was exactly what I was going to do. Starting now. I wish I could say I calmly walked away after finding the evidence. That I packed my bags with grace. Left a short note. But that's not what happened. Because when someone steals from you for over a year, not just money, but trust, time, emotional labor, you don't leave quietly. You make damn sure they know exactly what they did. I started with the bank. Called the fraud department. Explained the situation. They were surprisingly helpful. Apparently, misusing someone's SSN for unauthorized account creation was serious. Especially when it involved routing their salary without explicit consent. I flagged every transfer. Froze the account. Requested a full activity log. Then I contacted payroll at my company. Told them to reroute my direct deposits. Changed my banking passwords. Set up alerts for any transaction over $100. It was exhausting. But I didn't stop. I went to a notary the next day. Had a sworn affidavit drafted. Outlined every instance of misappropriation. Attached documentation. Then I called my sister again. She referred me to a financial crimes attorney. We scheduled a meeting for that week. Meanwhile, I didn't go back to our apartment. I stayed with my sister. And every night, she made tea while I scrolled through statements and tried not to cry. I kept thinking about all the times I'd offered to help them. The groceries I bought. The Uber I called for his mom when her knee acted up. The spa day I gifted her after her physical therapy. All while they were siphoning money behind my back. And it wasn't just financial. It was strategic. Coordinated. Cruel. Because now, I was starting to remember things. Comments she'd made over dinner. Little digs, like in my day, women didn't mind letting their husbands lead. Or you'll understand someday, when you stop putting career before family. Back then, I rolled my eyes. Thought it was just her being old-fashioned. Now it felt like foreshadowing. Then there was the time she accidentally used my card for her Amazon order. Or when he told me he had to dip into our savings to cover an unexpected expense, right after I got a bonus. It all made sense now. Too much sense. By the end of that week, I had filed a fraud report, transferred my funds to a new account, set up an appointment with a divorce attorney, pulled my name off our shared lease. But I wasn't done. He still didn't know that I knew everything. So I planned a meeting. A nice, neutral brunch. At his favorite diner. He showed up in gym clothes. All smiles. Hey, babe. Missed you. I slid a folder across the table. He opened it. Read the first few pages. Went pale. What the hell is this? That, I said, is the full transaction log of the account you opened with my social. He glanced around. Can we not do this here? I didn't blink. Why not? Afraid the waitress might hear you confess to financial fraud? He lowered his voice. You're overreacting. It was just to keep things organized. So organized that your mother is a cosigner? So organized you didn't tell me? He opened his mouth. Closed it. We can fix this, he said. It was a mistake. I pulled out another document. This is a letter from my attorney. We're filing for divorce. His face fell. Come on. Don't do this. Over a misunderstanding? It's not a misunderstanding, I said. It's a betrayal. He stood up. Threw some bills on the table. Stormed out. But I didn't move. I stayed and finished my pancakes. Because that meal was the last thing I was ever going to give him. Later that day, I called his mother. Hi, I said. Just wanted to let you know the account you co-managed with your son is frozen. Also, the IRS might want a word. She tried to bluster. Claimed I was being dramatic. I hung up. And then I made a post. Anonymous. But detailed. On a forum for financial abuse survivors. It got traction. People messaged. Thanked me. Shared similar stories. It felt good. Like reclaiming a piece of myself. I wasn't a victim. Not anymore. I was someone who took back control. Who drew a line. And burned the bridge behind me. I didn't expect life after the confrontation to be easy. But I didn't expect it to unravel quite like this either. The morning after I served him divorce papers, I walked into work like a woman on fire. Not angry. Not broken. Just blazing with clarity. My coworkers noticed. One of them pulled me aside and said, "You look like someone who just broke out of jail." I smiled. In a way, I did. Because that's what it had become. A quiet, suffocating prison. One where every dollar I earned was being diverted behind my back. Where the people I trusted most were working against me. Where love was conditional and loyalty was performative. I made a list of everything I still needed to untangle. Phone plan. Health insurance. Joint streaming services. Storage unit we were renting. He texted me that afternoon. Can we at least talk? I didn't reply. He sent another, you owe me that much. I didn't owe him anything. The only thing I did was email my lawyer. We expedited the proceedings. Since I had evidence of financial misconduct, we could push for a fault-based divorce. In our state, that meant a faster process, and I could request to retain all my individual assets. He wasn't happy. His mother sent me a letter. Handwritten. Calling me ungrateful. Said I had ruined her son's life. I scanned it. Saved it. Then shredded it. What she failed to understand was that her son had already ruined his own life. And now he had to live in it. The wedding was, obviously, off. Invites were never officially sent, but our venue required a cancellation notice. I called them directly. They were sympathetic. Let me transfer the date to a private event instead. So I did something radical. I threw a party. Not a pity party. Not a rebound bash. A survival celebration. I invited every friend who had supported me. Every coworker who had covered for me when I was unraveling silently. Even my therapist. We toasted to new beginnings. To freedom. To choosing ourselves. The next week, my lawyer informed me that the account had been flagged by the IRS. They were launching an inquiry. Apparently, my ex and his mom hadn't reported the deposits as income. Which meant their wedding fund now looked a lot like tax fraud. I didn't gloat. Not out loud. But I did buy myself a very nice espresso machine. Paid in full. With money from my own, now secure, account. I also started writing. Not about him. Not exactly. But about patterns. Financial abuse. The red flags we overlook when we're taught that love means sacrifice. My posts gained traction. I was interviewed by a podcast. Then a women's magazine. I told my story anonymously. But people knew. They reached out. Thanked me. Some even shared their own experiences. One message stood out. A woman wrote, "Reading your story made me realize my husband has been controlling our finances in the exact same way. I opened my own account yesterday. Thank you." That one hit me hard. Because if there was any justice in all this, it was that I turned my lowest moment into a lantern for someone else. My ex didn't stop trying. He emailed me a few weeks later. A long message about regret. About how he got scared. How he let his mom get in his head. I didn't reply. But I did forward it to my lawyer. Just in case. He showed up at my job once. Unannounced. I had security escort him out. That was the last time I saw him. He moved states shortly after. Rumor has it his mom sold her condo to cover legal fees. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel satisfaction. Not revenge. Just balance. The final thing I did was close the last joint account. The one he forgot about. It had $87.45 in it. I withdrew it. Bought myself flowers. White tulips. The kind I'd wanted for our wedding. And then I took a long bath. Lit a candle. Put on my favorite playlist. And whispered something I hadn't said in months. You made it out. Because I had. And I wasn't going back.